Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting, focusing on the Washington quarter dollar. While most quarters are worth just 25 cents, some rare editions can fetch thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's explore the top 8 most valuable Washington quarters that could be hiding in plain sight. We dive into the world of coins and discover the hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your pocket. Change. Today's spotlight is on a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but could be worth a surprising amount of money if you know what to look for. We're talking about the 1966 Washington quarter dollar. So grab your coin collection or that old jar of change, because what you hear today might just change the way you see that silver-toned quarter forever. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was meant to be a one-year commemorative coin, but it proved so popular that it became a regular issue and has been minted ever since. Now, fast forward to 1966. This was a crucial time in American coinage history. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint had removed silver from the quarter due to rising silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage. So the 1966 Washington quarter was minted not in silver but in a clad composition consisting of an outer layer of copper nickel over a core of pure copper. No more silver quarters for circulation. And here's where it gets interesting. The 1966 quarter has no mint mark. Why is that? Because during this transitional period from silver to clad, the U.S. Mint decided to omit mint marks entirely from coins dated 1965 to 1967 in an attempt to discourage coin hoarding. So, whether your 1966 quarter came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, there's no way to tell just by looking. Now let's talk value. Most 1966 quarters are common. They were produced in massive numbers. Over 821 million were minted, making it one of the highest mintages of any Washington quarter in circulated condition. It's typically worth its face value of 25 cents. But here's the catch: condition matters. Coins that are uncirculated with little to no wear, especially those graded mint state 65 or higher, can be worth significantly more. In fact, a high-grade example of a 1966 quarter can fetch anywhere from $10 to $50 depending on its quality, but it gets even better. Let's talk about rare errors and varieties. Some 1966 quarters are known for having striking mistakes that make them highly collectible. One of the most famous is the double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled. If you find one of these in your pocket change, it could be worth hundreds of dollars. Then there's the off-center strike. That's when the design is not centered properly on the coin. These can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on how dramatic the error is. Another rare type is the transitional error. Although not officially confirmed for the 1966 quarter, there are rumors and unconfirmed reports of some being struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. If you ever find a 1966 quarter that weighs significantly more than it should, definitely have it tested, because it could be one of these ultra-rare transitional errors. Now, what about the coin market today? As of this year, 2025, the coin collecting community remains strong, and Washington quarters, especially from the 1960s, continue to gain attention. A certified 1966 Washington quarter graded MS-67 or higher by a service like PCGS or NGC can command prices of $100 to even $500 depending on eye appeal and rarity of strike quality. In fact, one 1966 quarter in pristine condition sold for over $1,000 at auction. That's right, a coin you could find in circulation might just be a hidden gem. So how do you check if you've got a valuable one? First, look at the overall condition. The less where the better. Next, get a scale and weigh the coin. A normal clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's heavier, it could be struck on a silver planchet. Also, consider investing in a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look for doubling, especially around the date and the word Liberty. And of course, if you think you've got something special, always consult a reputable coin dealer or send it off to be graded. So to sum it all up, the 1966 Washington quarter may seem like just another coin in your change jar, but if you pay close attention to condition, unusual features, and possible errors, you might just strike silver, or at least a nice chunk of change. We're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins from modern American coinage, the 1979 D Washington quarter dollar. If you've got one of these sitting in your change jar or tucked away in an old collection, you might be holding on to more than just 25 cents. Some of these coins are worth serious money today, and we're going to explore exactly why. So stick around until the end to learn how to spot the valuable ones and what the current market is paying for them. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It quickly became a permanent part of U.S. coinage and remained largely unchanged for decades. Fast forward to 1979, a year known for disco, space exploration, and economic shifts, and the Denver Mint was busy striking millions of quarters with the familiar bust of Washington on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Denver Mint produced approximately 489 million quarters in 1979. Yes, that's a huge number, and it means most 1979 D quarters you come across are only worth face value. And this is a big but not all coins are created equal. Some 1979 D quarters have become highly collectible and extremely valuable for a few key reasons. The first factor is condition. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they were never used in everyday commerce, can be worth significantly more than their face value. If your 1979 D quarter is in pristine condition, we're talking no scratches, no wear, full original luster, it could grade as mint state or MS. A high grade like MS-67 or MS-68 can fetch big money at auction. We're talking anywhere from $50 to hundreds of dollars, and in rare cases even over $1,000. But condition isn't everything. Errors and varieties are what really make a coin valuable. One of the most sought-after errors for the 1979 D quarter is the double die. This happens when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment, causing parts of the design, like the lettering or numbers, to appear doubled. A 1979 D double die obverse can be worth hundreds of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling. Another variety to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank or planchet is not properly aligned in the press and part of the design is missing or off-center. These off-center errors can be extremely valuable, especially if the date and mint mark are still fully visible. A dramatic off-center 1979 D quarter might be worth several $100s to the right collector. There's also the rare and unusual clipped planchet error. This is when a portion of the coin is literally clipped off during the minting process. It creates a unique and obvious crescent-shaped cut in the coin. Collectors love these kinds of errors because they're visually striking and relatively rare. A clipped planchet error from 1979 D could sell for $50 to $200 or more depending on its appearance. Now let's talk about recent sales and the current market. As of this year, high-grade 1979 D quarters graded MS-67 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for around $200 to $500. If you've got one in MS-68, which is extremely rare, you're looking at potential sales in the four-figure range. Auction results vary depending on demand, but the key is rarity and condition. If your 1979 D quarter is circulated but shows signs of an error like doubling or an off-center strike, it's worth getting it authenticated and appraised. Even circulated examples with rare errors can pull in $100 or more. So how do you know if your coin is valuable? Start by checking the coin's surfaces. Look for strong details, full rims, and no signs of heavy wear. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to inspect for doubling on the letters in Liberty, the date, and the motto "In God We Trust." Check the edges for any irregularities that might suggest a clipped planchet. If you find something suspicious or unique, it might be worth sending the coin to a grading service for professional evaluation. Before we wrap up, here's a quick tip. Don't clean your coins. Ever. Cleaning can destroy the natural patina and significantly lower the value of your coin. Collectors and grading services prefer coins in original condition, even if they have a bit of dirt or tarnish. So there you have it. The 1979 D Washington quarter might look like just another pocket change coin, but under the right conditions it can be worth big money. Whether it's a pristine mint state piece, a rare mint error, or a unique variety, it's worth taking a closer look at your quarters. You never know what treasure you might be sitting on. We're diving deep into the world of the 1980 D quarter, exploring its fascinating history, unique minting details, rare errors, and how some of these coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you've got one of these in your pocket or piggy bank, you'll definitely want to stick around until the end of this video. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Originally designed by John Flanagan, this quarter has gone through numerous subtle changes over the decades, but the obverse has always featured the profile of America's first president. Fast forward to 1980, and the design remained largely the same, but the minting process and coin materials had evolved. The 1980D quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small D mint mark on the right side of the obverse just next to Washington's ponytail. That year, over 518 million quarters were struck at the Denver Mint, making this a fairly common coin in circulation. However, like many collectibles, it's not always about quantity. It's about condition, rarity, and in some cases, error. Now let's talk about what makes the 1980D Washington quarter interesting to collectors. First off, there's the condition of the coin. Most quarters from 1980 have been through decades of pocket use, vending machines, and coin jars. But finding a 1980D quarter in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one that has been professionally graded, can be worth significantly more than its face value. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by PCGS or NGC can fetch between $10 to $50. And if you happen to find one in MS-67 or MS-68, that value jumps dramatically. One of the highest known sales of a 1980D Washington quarter in MS-67 condition was over $500. Now imagine if you found one with a mint error on top of that grade. That's where the real big money kicks in. Error coins are the crown jewels of numismatics. And the 1980D quarter has a few that are especially sought after. Look out for off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or even missing clad layers. These kinds of errors can turn a 25-cent coin into a collector's jackpot. Some of these error quarters have been known to sell for several $100s, and in rare cases even past the $1,000 mark, especially when authenticated and certified by grading companies. Now let's talk about the market as it stands today. Coin collecting has seen a resurgence in recent years, with more people getting into the hobby thanks to social media, YouTube, and online marketplaces like eBay. That means demand for high-grade and error coins is higher than ever. While your average circulated 1980D quarter might only be worth its face value or slightly more, rare examples in top condition or with minting anomalies can go for a small fortune. So how do you know if your coin is valuable? The first step is to check the condition. Does it have sharp details, no scratches, and original luster? If yes, it might be worth grading. The second thing to check is for any unusual features. Get yourself a good magnifying glass or a coin loop and look for anything out of the ordinary. If you find an error or a coin that looks flawless, it might be time to contact a professional grader or a coin dealer for a second opinion. And here's one more pro tip. Always handle your coins carefully by the edges and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning can actually reduce the value of a coin drastically. Natural toning and even small marks can be more desirable than a shiny clean surface. Let's do a quick recap. The 1980D Washington quarter was minted in large numbers but holds hidden value in mint condition and error varieties. Coins graded above MS-65 are worth significantly more. Rare errors can push values into the hundreds or thousands. And in today's collecting world, demand is climbing higher every year. So before you toss that quarter into a vending machine or a coin jar, take a second look. You might be holding a piece of hidden treasure. Check those mint marks, study those details, and always be on the lookout for something special. Because sometimes big money hides in small change. Let's take a step back to the year 1987. The year of cassette tapes, shoulder pads, and reaganomics. But for coin collectors, there's something else that makes 1987 special. The release of the 1987 Washington quarter. Now, on the surface, the 1987 quarter might look just like any other. It features the familiar profile of George Washington on the front, the reverse showing the eagle with wings spread wide. But hold on. There's more to this coin than meets the EYE.SO. What makes this 1987 quarter special? Is it rare? Is it valuable? Could it be hiding in your change jar right now, worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Let's dig into the full story. First, let's talk basics. The 1987 Washington quarter was minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The P mint mark represents the Philadelphia Mint. That year, over 582 million quarters were struck at Philly. So right away, we know this isn't a low-mintage coin. But that doesn't mean it isn't valuable. Because in the world of coin collecting, value isn't just about how many were made. It's about condition, rarity of errors, and collector demand. Now, here's something interesting. In 1987, The US Mint did not release any quarter coins for circulation from the mint set. That means collectors couldn't get mint set-only coins unless they purchased the uncirculated coin set. This made certain coins from that year slightly tougher to find in pristine condition. So if you're holding a 1987 P quarter that's shiny, flawless, and looks like it just left the mint, you might have something worth more than face value. But what about real value? What are people actually paying? Well, let's talk numbers. A regular 1987 P quarter in circulated condition is still only worth 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, we're talking MS65 or higher, prices jump. A mint state 65 example might fetch between $5 to $15. That's already 20 to 60 times its face value. But it gets better. If you manage to find one graded MS67 or higher, that's when things really take off. As of now, MS67 examples can go for $200 or more depending on the market and the buyer. And in MS68, they're incredibly rare. We're talking big money territory. In fact, the last known sale of a PCGS-graded 1987 P Washington quarter in MS68 hit over $2,000 at auction. That's right, $2,000 for a coin you might overlook in your pocket change. But wait, there's more to look out for. Some 1987 P quarters have errors. That's where the real jackpot could be hiding. Let me give you a few examples. Look for off-center strikes. If the image on the coin is not aligned properly, and it shows some of the blank planchet, that's a legit mint error and can go for anywhere from $100 to $500 depending on the severity. There's also the double die error. This is when the coin is struck more than once in the same spot, and it creates a ghosted image effect. Most visible on the words, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." These are rare but highly desirable. If you spot one in great condition, you could be looking at $250 to $1,000. And then there's the clipped planchet error, when part of the coin is literally clipped or missing due to a cutting mishap at the mint. These coins, though damaged by birth, are incredibly collectible. Now, if you want to check your coin's potential value, here's what to do. Step 1. Look at the mint mark. Is it AP? Good, you're in the right place. Step 2. Check the condition. Is it shiny, full detail, no scratches? You might have a mint state coin. Step 3. Use a magnifying glass. Look closely at the letters. Any signs of doubling? Weird gaps? Missing pieces? And finally, if it looks special, don't guess. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can dramatically increase its resale value. Now, let's talk about market trends. Coin collecting is hotter than ever, and modern collectors are diving deep into 80s and 90s coins. That includes the 1987 P quarter. As more people get interested in error coins and high-grade examples, demand is growing. And with demand comes value. So, should you start digging through your old change jars? Absolutely. That common-looking 1987 P quarter might just be a hidden gem. Maybe it's worth a little over face value. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the kind of coin that gets featured in the next big coin auction headline. The next time you get change back from a vending machine or find an old quarter in a drawer, flip it over. Look for that 1987. Look for the P. You never know what treasures are waiting. Let's talk about one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history. It's the 1999 P Washington quarter. Now, if you're seeing the date 1999 paired with the number 1788, you're probably looking at the Delaware State Quarter, the very first released in the iconic 50-state quarters program. And let me tell you, some of these coins are worth way more than just 25 cents. Some of them could be sitting in your change jar right now, and they might be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition, rarity, and most importantly, errors. So how did we get here? The Washington quarter itself started way back in 1932, originally to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. But in 1999, something huge happened. The U.S. Mint launched the State Quarter Series, starting with Delaware, because Delaware was the first state to ratify the Constitution in 1787. That's why you see the year 1787 or 1788 on the reverse side of many of these coins. It represents the year that particular state entered the Union. The front of the coin, of course, still features our first president, George Washington, but the back started showcasing each state's history, culture, and iconic symbols. Now, the 1999 P Delaware quarter is especially famous in the coin collecting world. Why? Because it's not only the first of the 50-state quarter series, but it also came with a variety of errors and minting quirks that have driven collectors wild for years. The most famous one is what's known as the spitting horse error. If you look closely at some Delaware quarters, you'll see a line coming out of the mouth of Caesar Rodney's horse. It literally looks like the horse is spitting. This happened due to a die crack, and it's become one of the most sought-after errors from the 1999 quarters. But wait, that's not all. You also have double die errors, off-center strikes, and even a few examples where coins were struck on the wrong planchet. These are the holy grails. Some of these have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auctions. One 1999 Delaware quarter with a major off-center strike and in mint state condition sold for over $2,000. Yes, a single quarter. That's the kind of treasure people dream about finding in their pocket changed. So what about regular 1999 Delaware quarters in great condition with no errors? Well, if you've got one in uncirculated condition, meaning it hasn't been used in everyday transactions and has no wear, it might still be worth something. MS-65 and MS-66 grade examples have been known to fetch $10 to $20, sometimes more. And coins graded MS-67 and above? Those can bring in $100 or more depending on the market. Coins with full strike, brilliant luster, and perfect surfaces are the most desirable to collectors. Now let's talk about grading, because that really affects the value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything above MS-65 is considered high quality. Most coins found in circulation are going to be in lower grades just from everyday handling. But if you have a 1999 quarter that looks brand new, barely touched, maybe even still in a mint set, you should consider getting it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. The right grade can mean the difference between a few bucks and a small fortune. So let's recap. If you see 1999 on the front and 1787 or 1788 on the back of a quarter, you're most likely holding a Delaware quarter, the first of the state quarter series. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with a tiny P under the word "I in God we trust," struck millions of these. Over 700 million, in fact. But the real money lies in the rare finds, the errors, the high grades, and the unusual planchets. What's the market looking like today? As of now, in 2025, prices are still strong for error coins and high-grade specimens. The numismatic community is more active than ever thanks to social media and online auctions. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins like these, and if you've got a gem in your hands, now might be a great time to get it appraised or listed. Even if you don't sell, just knowing that your quarter could be worth 100 times its face value is pretty exciting. So check your change. Dig through those old coin jars. Ask your relatives if they've got any mint sets from the late 90s. Because that 1999 Washington quarter, especially the Delaware version with errors or perfect surfaces, might just be your hidden jackpot. Who knew a little piece of pocket change could carry so much history and so much value? We've got a real gem of a topic that every coin collector and history buff is going to love. We're talking about one of the most fascinating and potentially valuable coins you might have sitting in your change jar right now. This is the story of the 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter, specifically the variety known as the extra leaf quarter, often referred to by collectors as the 2004 1845 Washington Quarter. And trust me, this is not just pocket change. Some of these coins are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Before we dive deep into values and market trends, let's rewind a bit. Back in 1999, the United States Mint launched the 50-state quarters program. It was one of the most popular coin series in American history. Every year, 5 new quarters were released, each representing a different state. The program ran from 1999 to 2008, and in 2004, the Mint released the Wisconsin quarter to honor the Badger State. Now, most people didn't think twice about these quarters. They used them, saved a few for fun, maybe even collected all 50. But in late 2004 and early 2005, something strange started popping up. Coin collectors in the Midwest began noticing that some of the Wisconsin quarters had an unusual detail in the design. Let me explain. The reverse of the Wisconsin quarter features a cow, a wheel of cheese, and an ear of corn. But some of these quarters from the Denver Mint, that's where the D Mint mark comes in, showed something extra on the corn leaf. On these coins, An extra leaf can be seen near the base of the corn stalk. In fact, there are two known varieties, the extra leaf low and the extra leaf high, depending on the placement of the added leaf. This was no small discovery. These were clear die varieties, meaning the coins weren't damaged after minting. The error actually came from the die used to strike the coins. That meant many copies were made, but still only a fraction of all Wisconsin quarters minted in Denver had this unique feature. And as every collector knows, rarity plus demand equals serious value. So what are these coins worth today? Well, it depends on the condition and the type of extra leaf variety. Let's start with circulated examples. Even coins that have been used and show somewhere can sell for anywhere from $50 to $200. But if you've got one in a higher grade, things get a lot more exciting. Mint state examples, meaning coins that were never used and have no wear, can fetch several $100s. And certified coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Those can reach values of $500 to over $1,500. Now here's where it gets really wild. A few of the highest grade specimens with the extra leaf high variety have sold at auction for over $2,000. That's right. A single 25-cent coin turning into thousands of dollars just because of a tiny error in the minting process. So how can you tell if you have one of these valuable quarters? It's all about close inspection. Grab a magnifying glass and check out the corn leaf on the back of any 2004 Wisconsin quarter with a D mint mark. If you spot a small additional leaf pointing down or up near the base, you might just be holding a jackpot. And it's not just about luck. There's a reason so many of these coins were found in the Midwest, especially in Wisconsin and surrounding states. That's where the Denver minted coins were circulated first, so folks in that region had a better chance of finding one. But even today, people across the country are discovering these coins in old rolls, coin jars, and forgotten change collections. Let's talk market trends for a second. Like most collectibles, the value of these coins can fluctuate based on demand, grading trends, and even broader economic factors. But in recent years, the interest in error coins and state quarter varieties has surged. More collectors, more online auctions, and more awareness have pushed prices upward. So if you've got one, now might be a great time to get it graded or put it up for sale. And if you're hunting, don't stop. New discoveries are still being made. To wrap it all up, the 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf quarters are a perfect example of how a small mistake can turn into a big payday. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, keep your eyes peeled for that extra little leaf. Could be the most valuable quarter you'll ever hold. If you're new here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a hidden coin gem that might be sitting in your pocket right now. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing and potentially valuable coins out there, the 2004 Washington quarter. But hang on, because we're also connecting it to a historical nod that makes this coin even more fascinating. That's right, we're talking about coins from the year 2004, featuring designs that pay tribute to states and stories from the past. But you might have heard the number 1846 mentioned too, and we'll explain how all of this ties together. So let's get into it. The 2004 Washington quarters are part of the legendary 50-state quarters program, launched by the United States Mint to honor each of the 50 states. In 2004, 5 state quarters were released: Michigan, Florida, Texas, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Each one features a unique design on the reverse side that captures the essence of that state. These coins were minted in huge numbers, but there are certain versions, especially the San Francisco proof coins, that are highly sought after today. And that's where the 2004 S coins come in. The S stands for San Francisco Mint, and these proof coins were made with incredible detail and a mirror-like finish. Most of them were not released for circulation. They were sold in special sets to collectors. So if you ever find one in your pocket change or in a box of old coins, that's already a rare event. But there's more. Now you might be wondering, where does 1846 come into this story? Well, one of the state quarters released in 2004 was for Iowa. And guess what? Iowa became a state in 1846. So the 2004 Iowa quarter has the date 1846 engraved on the back, marking Iowa's admission into the Union. That's why collectors often refer to it as the 2004 1846 quarter. a coin minted in 2004 with a design commemorating the year 1846. Now let's talk about value. And trust me, some of these coins can be worth big money. The most valuable examples of the 2004 1846 Iowa quarters are the ones in pristine proof condition, especially those graded PR70 Deep Cameo by PCGS or NGC. That's the highest grade a coin can receive, meaning it's flawless under magnification. These coins can sell for up to $50 to $100 depending on market demand, rarity, and collector interest. Not bad for a quarter, right? But there's another twist. Some of these coins have errors. And when it comes to coin collecting, error coins are pure gold. Well, not literally, but in terms of value, absolutely. The Wisconsin State Quarter from 2004, for example, has a famous error known as the extra leaf high and extra leaf low variety. Those coins have sold for hundreds, sometimes even over $1,000 at auction. Although the Iowa Quarter doesn't have such widely known errors, collectors are always on the hunt for coins with unusual features: double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or planchet errors. If you ever find one, get it professionally graded. It could be worth much more than face value. Now let's break down the current market values a bit more. A standard 2004 Iowa State Quarter that has been circulated is usually worth just 25 cents. But an uncirculated version from the Denver or Philadelphia Mint can be worth around $1 or $2 if it's in mint condition. A proof version from the San Francisco Mint in lower grades can fetch around $3 to $5. But again, top-graded Deep Cameo proofs can soar to $50 or more, especially if they come in the original mint packaging. If you're looking to invest or collect, it's always wise to buy graded coins or coins from trusted dealers. Look for PCGS or NGC certification. These coins hold their value better in the long term and give you peace of mind. Now here's a little tip for coin hunters. Go through old mint proof sets, estate sales, or even eBay listings that show close-ups of the coin surfaces. You might spot a hidden gem that others overlooked. And if you're lucky enough to find an error coin, don't rush to sell it. Wait for the right time or submit it to auction houses that specialize in rare coins. Some collectors will pay big premiums for unique varieties. So, to wrap it all up, the 2004 1846 Iowa State Quarter is not just a beautiful tribute to American history. It's also a potentially valuable coin that every collector should be aware of. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, this is one quarter that deserves a place in your collection. From deep cameo proofs to error coins and historical connections, it's a tiny piece of metal with a big story and maybe even a big price tag. Are you holding on to a 2015 D Washington quarter and wondering if it might be worth more than just 25 cents? Well, you're in the right place. In this video, we're diving into the full story behind the 2015 D Washington $quarter coins. We'll explore their history, the different designs, what makes them valuable, and how much some of these coins are actually selling for today. So stick around, because some of these coins are worth way more than you might think. Let's get started with a little background. The 2015 quarters are part of the America the Beautiful series. This series ran from 2010 to 2021 and featured national parks and sites from each state and territory. In 2015 alone, the United States Mint released 5 unique designs. Each of these was struck at different mints, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Now, when you see a D mint mark on your quarter, that means it was minted in Denver, Colorado. In 2015, the Denver Mint produced millions of quarters, but here's where it gets interesting. While these coins are common in circulation, some varieties, errors, and high-grade examples can be worth serious money. Let's go through the 5 designs released in 2015. First up, the Homestead National Monument of America quarter from Nebraska. This coin celebrates the Homestead Act of 1862 and the pioneers who settled the American frontier. Look closely at this one. There are a few well-known die errors. One of the most talked about is the extra water pump handle or doubling on the windows. Collectors go crazy for these. Depending on the condition and clarity of the error, these coins have sold for anywhere between $20 and over $100 online. Next is the Kisatchie National Forest quarter from Louisiana. It features a wild turkey flying through a forested background. This design is beautiful but also prone to minor die chips and cracks. Though not as dramatic as other errors, coins with noticeable die breaks or struck through errors can fetch premiums, especially in high grades. Then we have the Blue Ridge Parkway quarter from North Carolina. This one shows the curved road and the iconic stone tunnel. Now, here's where grading becomes crucial. A typical circulated coin is worth face value. But a Blue Ridge Parkway quarter-graded MS-67 or higher can go for $50 to $200 at auction. Fourth on the list is the Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge quarter from Delaware. It shows two great blue herons in a marshy wetland scene. A coin with perfect luster, sharp details, and no scratches, especially in mint state 68 or higher, could bring in hundreds. And don't forget about potential double dies. A few examples have shown doubling in the birds or the water ripples, which makes them more desirable. Finally, we have the Saratoga National Historical Park quarter from New York. This one is particularly significant because it features a sword being handed over, representing British surrender during the Revolutionary War. It's a powerful image, and there are a few interesting varieties here as well. Off-center strikes, die clashes, and other mint errors can push the value well past the average. So now let's talk about market value in general. A regular 2015 D quarter in average circulated condition is only worth 25 cents. But once you get into uncirculated or mint state territory, especially MS-66 and above, that's where the value shoots up. Most high-grade coins are found in mint sets or rolls that were never opened. Professional grading plays a huge role here. Coins graded by PCGS or NGC are often more trusted by collectors, and their slabbed condition ensures authenticity and value retention. As of now, in 2025, recent sales of high-grade 2015 D quarters have ranged anywhere from $20 to over $500, depending on the coin, the error, and the grade. Rare errors can sometimes fetch even more, especially if they're unique or have a story behind them. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable one? First, grab a magnifying glass or loupe and carefully inspect the coin. Look for doubling, cracks, off-center strikes, and any unusual features. Then compare it with trusted online sources, grading company databases, or even consult with a local coin dealer. If you've got a pristine coin or something that looks odd, it might be worth getting it graded. Could pay off big time. To sum it all up, yes, your 2015 D Washington quarter could be worth a lot more than face value. While most are common, a few gems out there are hiding in plain sight. So check your change, look through your coin jars, and see what you can find. Who knows, you might just be holding on to a tiny treasure worth hundreds of dollars. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future coin videos. Let me know in the comments if you've found any cool 2015 D quarters, or if you have a coin you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, coin collectors!